There are thousands of items, armor sets, weapons, shields, and equipment in The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and with the addition of Fuse, the total combinations have skyrocketed, leaving one question remaining. What is the best equipment in Tears of the Kingdom? What combination of weapons, armor, and buffs lead you to being the best you can be in battle? Well, it's hard to find a definitive answer because the best equipment can mean different things for different people. Does it mean the most defense or the most damage? Damage per second or one-time damage? These are just a few of the filters we can place on the title of best equipment, so I think that we should set some ground rules. Instead of looking in only one category, we need to look for the best all-around equipment. This means that no matter where you are or what you're facing, you have the best defense, armor, and or special effects to help you. We also need to take into account that once Link gets enough hearts, or reaches a certain amount of defense, even the toughest enemies in the game seem like a pushover. So I've decided that we should take a look in each category of our combination, to finally determine the best possible equipment in Tears of the Kingdom. Starting off with shields, this is a pretty easy one. The Hylian shield has the most defense and durability of any shield, and easily comes out on top. However, if we want to look into fuse items, different things arise. If we want to have the best shield surfing experience, we can fuse any icy meat to our shield. If we want special movement, we can fuse a rocket or spring. However, I think that the actual best fuse item in combat would be an ice dispenser, so you can freeze an enemy and then attack it for extra damage. Moving on to bows, this is another pretty simple answer. The Savage Lynel bow with 5x arrows is the best bow that you can get in the game without glitches. It is extremely useful and works against pretty much any enemy. When looking for what to fuse to the end of our arrows, the Savage Lynel Saberhorn deals the most damage. The Gleeok horns deal the most elemental damage, and there are several unique fuse items that have different effects. I personally recommend using Gibdo bones. Even though they don't deal the most damage, they are best used when you attach them to your arrows because they always break as soon as you hit an enemy with them. Ancient blades are also effective, but they don't drop any items from the enemy. But you know what else is effective? Subscribing. It helps out a ton and I really appreciate it. Okay, back to the video. Now it's time for weapons. This one is a bit more complicated as we need to take into account special effects and fuse materials. For the most DPS, a spear would be the best option, but I'm going to go with the Scimitar of the Seven. This is because it doubles the attack power of its fuse material, so fusing a Silver Lynel Saberhorn would give it an attack power of 138. I know that you can technically get more damage, but this is the most consistent weapon because it has high durability and can be used with any fuse item. Keep in mind that while individually this is the best combination, our final equipment will be a bit different to maximize efficiency. What about armor though? I made a short about all the different types of armor, and I've concluded that the Zonite Helm, Champion's Leathers, and Zonite Shin Guards give you the most defense possible with 88. If you want to get attack up, it would still be better to keep the same armor and add an attack up buff. Speaking of buffs, what is the best buff to use? Well, it mainly depends on what armor you're using. If you use armor with high defense, you should use the attack up buff, but if you already have attack up, get a defense up buff. Because our armor has the most possible defense, we will use a level 3 attack up buff that lasts 30 minutes, made with 4 mighty bananas and a dragon horn. If we want a level 3 defense up buff, we'll use 4 iron shrooms or a replaceable ingredient and a dragon horn. Now that we have all of the pieces, you would think that this would be the best equipment in Tears of the Kingdom. However, that is not the case. If we use special combinations, we can find something much better. The Radiant Armor. When maxed out, the full set gives you 60 defense and bone proficiency, which adds 80% damage to bone weapons. So we can replace the Silver Lynel Saberhorn with the Molduga Jaw to get the best damage possible. The 92 damage from that, plus 80% from the armor, would equal 166 damage, with an additional 50% from tack up, for a total of 248 damage. Even though this is less defense than the old armor, it is enough to where with enough hearts, dying is extremely unlikely. Without further ado, here is what the best equipment in Tears of the Kingdom looks like in battle.